Zara spends almost nothing on advertising. Zero celebrity endorsements, no Super Bowl spots, no billboards in Times Square. In an industry that treats marketing as oxygen, Zara decided it didn't need to breathe. And yet in 2022, Inditex, Zara's parent company, posted revenues of over 32 billion euros. Its founder, Amancio Ortega, became one of the wealthiest people on the planet, not from tech, not from oil, from clothes. The rest of the fashion industry watched this happen in real time. They had decades to respond. Most of them are still figuring it out. To understand what Zara did, you have to understand what the fashion industry looked like before it. In the 1970s, fashion moved in seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. 4 collections a year, designed months in advance, manufactured overseas, shipped slowly, and hoped, genuinely hoped, that customers would still want it by the time it arrived. The lead time from design to store shelf was typically 6 to 9 months, sometimes longer. Brands were essentially placing enormous bets on what people might want half a year from now. This is not a great system. The industry treated it as gospel. Amancio Ortega opened the first Zara store in La Coruña, Spain, in 1975. He was not a fashion insider. He was a former delivery boy who had worked his way up making bathrobes and lingerie. He didn't have reverence for the industry's traditions. That turned out to be an enormous advantage. Early Zara was unremarkable, a modest store selling affordable clothes in a mid-sized Spanish city. The brand expanded slowly through Spain during the late 1970s and 1980s. Nothing about it screamed global domination. But Ortega was already thinking differently about the fundamental problem of fashion. The problem, as he saw it, was dead inventory. You design something, you manufacture it in bulk, and then you find out the market didn't want it. The clothes sit. You discount. You lose margin. You start over. The entire industry accepted this cycle as simply the cost of doing business. Ortega's obsession became speed. What if you could design something, make it, and have it in stores in 2 weeks? What if instead of guessing what customers wanted 6 months from now, you watched what they were actually buying right now and made more of that? This sounds obvious. It was not obvious in 1985. It was, in fact, considered insane. Manufacturing in Europe was far more expensive than Asia. Every consultant, every competitor, every business school case study said you cut costs by offshoring production. Ortega kept a significant portion of manufacturing in Spain and Portugal. The experts raised their eyebrows. Here is what the experts missed. Yes, manufacturing in Spain cost more per unit. But when your lead time drops from 6 months to 2 weeks, you almost never make the wrong thing. You're not betting on the future. You're responding to the present. The math looks completely different when you factor in the cost of being wrong. By the late 1980s, Zara had developed what would become known as its fast fashion model, though that term undersells the operational complexity behind it. Design teams in La Coruña were receiving daily sales data from every store, not weekly, not monthly, daily. They would analyze what sold, what didn't, and adjust production within 48 hours. Store managers were trained to report not just sales figures but customer behavior. What did people pick up and put back? What did they ask for that wasn't on the shelves? This information fed directly back to designers. The store wasn't just a store. It was a real-time research lab. Zara expanded internationally in 1988, opening in Porto, Portugal. Then France in 1990. Then the United States in 1989, New York, specifically. The reaction in New York's fashion circles was polite indifference. They'd seen European brands try to crack America before, but something was happening in Zara stores that wasn't happening anywhere else. The inventory turned over completely every 2 to 3 weeks. Competitors turned inventory 4 to 6 times a year. Zara was hitting an estimated 12 to 17 times. Customers learned quickly, if you see something you like, buy it today. It will not be there next week. That scarcity was not accidental. Zara produced limited quantities by design, not so limited that shelves looked empty, but limited enough that nothing lingered. The urgency was engineered. Every store visit felt like a window that was closing. Customers came back more frequently just to check. The average Zara customer visited reportedly 17 times a year. The industry average was 3 or 4. Now, here is the turning point. In 2001, Inditex went public on the Madrid Stock Exchange. The IPO raised approximately 2.3 billion euros and valued the company at around 9 billion euros. For the first time, the world got a clear look at the financials. What they saw stopped people cold. Zara's gross margins were roughly 56 to 59%, substantially higher than most fashion retailers. Its unsold inventory was a fraction of the industry norm. While competitors were writing down billions in dead stock each season, Zara had almost none. The model that everyone said was too expensive to operate was, in fact, more profitable per unit than anyone had realized. The IPO forced competitors to pay attention in a way that a decade of retail success had not. H&M, Gap, Bennett. They finally had numbers to look at. The numbers were not comforting. Gap stock had already peaked in 2000. H&M would scramble to accelerate its own design cycles. Neither would fully replicate what Zara had built. Because here is what was almost impossible to copy. Zara's advantage wasn't a tactic. It was the entire architecture of the company. Vertical integration, owning design, manufacturing, logistics, and retail under one roof, meant every part of the chain communicated in real time. You cannot bolt that onto an existing business. You have to build it from the start. By 2010, Inditex operated over 5,000 stores across 77 countries. By 2022, that number had grown to over 6,400 locations across more than 90 markets. Ortega himself had, at various points, briefly held the title of richest man in the world, not Bezos, not Gates, the man who made fast fashion work. The fashion industry eventually caught on enough to use the language. Everyone claimed to be doing fast fashion. Few of them were doing what Zara was doing. Producing quickly is not the same as producing intelligently. Speed without feedback is just a faster way to make the wrong thing. The lesson here is not really about fashion. It is about information. Zara's entire competitive advantage rests on one core belief. The customer is already telling you what they want. Your only job is to listen fast enough to respond. Every industry has this information available. Almost no one is organized to act on it. The conventional wisdom said, design far in advance, manufacture cheap, market aggressively. Zara said, design now, manufacture nearby, let the product speak. One of these approaches built a 32 billion euro empire. The other built a lot of very expensive billboards. The most dangerous competitor in any industry is rarely the one making the loudest noise. It's the one quietly building a system that makes your entire operation look obsolete. Zara did it to fashion. Someone is doing it to your industry right now. Next time on Hidden Empire, the company that invented the category dominated it for decades and then watched a faster, quieter rival take everything. Subscribe, because the most important business stories are the ones no one thought to tell.